the ALLT 2020 Summer Forum organising team. I'd like to welcome everyone here. The Summer Forum of ALLT is organised in collaboration with Zayed University and the Higher Colleges of Technology. So my name is Amy Grange and I'm at University College at Zayed University, and I'm going to be moderating the sessions in virtual room 4 until 1:55 p.m. today. So just as a reminder, the presentation for each speaker will be for 15 to 20 minutes maximum, followed by 5 minutes discussion. So you're welcome to write your questions in the chat box function during the presentation, and I will collate your questions and pose them to the presenter in the last 5 minutes of the session. And I would like to remind you about our distinguished keynote speakers who will bring the forum to a close this afternoon from 2 o'clock to 3:20 in virtual room 6, okay? So now I would like to give a very warm welcome to Dr. Omer Salama Idris, and his topic is making your online classroom interactive and fun. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good afternoon. It's great pleasure for me to meet you today in my presentation, which is going to be about making your online classroom interactive and fun. Before we start, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Omer Salama Idris. I have PhD in applied linguistics. I have been teaching English language as a second language for more than 17 years. Right now, I work for Saudi Petroleum Services Polytechnic. As I said before, my presentation is titled Making Your Online Classroom Interactive and Fun. There is a safety message during this pandemic. Keep a safe distance to stay safe and to keep your family safe and your colleagues at work safe. So keep a safe distance everywhere you go, whether you are at your office or you are out or you are even in a restaurant chatting with your friends. The agenda for my presentation today consists of definition of online teaching. In this part, I'm going to define online teaching, why online teaching, challenges face online teaching. We know that everything you do in your life have challenges, even online teaching. Ideas on how to make your online classroom interactive. And the last point is questions and answers. We know that online teaching is taking off, but for teachers who are used to the classroom, it can be an adjustment. Connecting via webcam isn't always easy, and it takes creativity to keep the students stimulated, interactive, and engaged. As a teacher, you might find that you need a completely different teaching skill set that enable you to be a good online teacher. We know that most of the students taking online lessons outside regular school hours or at home, actually they are surrounded by potential distractors. So keeping them engaged, motivated, and interested in their English lessons can be one of the biggest challenges that face online teachers. There is a question that's asked by most of the online teachers. The question is, how do I make my lessons fun and engaging for my students? In this presentation, I'm going to try to answer this question. Definition of online teaching. It is as defined that the delivery of instruction using different web-based technologies from the internet or intranet or any other communication technologies that enable the students to participate in learning activities beyond the campus. That means outside the campus, from their home, from where they are, okay, or from the workplace or any other location. Online teaching is the transaction of presenting ideas and knowledge, content to students through the internet medium. So the medium here is the internet, not the regular books and so on. Defining online teaching is controversial point. However, all the definitions agreed on that using technology or another media other than books to transfer knowledge to the students. Why online teaching? Here we may raise a very essential question. Why online teaching? There are some reasons for using online teaching. One of these reasons is that online teaching is somehow cheaper, okay? And it fits the students' commitments and time. So students often can fit them around their existing responsibilities and commitments. And it's easy to engage with multimedia content and learning materials, whatever the time is. And surely the time is always convenient for the students when they go on online. Another reason for why online teaching, it's something that's related to economy. It's cheaper. Okay, you know that cost and high expenses for learning may be a prohibitive factor in why some individual students do not enroll in courses they're interested in. But whenever they enroll in this course online, we notice that it's cheaper than the regular enrollment or in campus enrollment. They are easily accessible, okay, on much smaller budgets. You need just only an application in your iPad, your phone, or even your laptop, and strong internet connection. You don't need to go to the campus, spending time on the streets, driving car, spending money on buying petrol for your car, just only from your home, connected to the internet, and then you take your course. Also, there is another reason for online teaching, especially in 2020. We have very serious pandemic, which is COVID-19. COVID-19 really imposed online teaching to all educational institutions, all kinds of educational institutions, schools, primary schools, intermediate schools, secondary schools, polytechnics, universities, colleges. All these institutions went on online teaching, so they are forced to do this. These are some of the reasons why we adopt online teaching these days. The third point here is going to be about the challenge that face online teaching. Adaptability struggle, that's the first challenge. You know, switching from face-to-face learning to virtual classrooms really is a challenging one and needs adaptability. Students may resist that, okay, and they may not accustomed to course management systems and other methods of computer-based education. So students with traditional mindset find it difficult to adapt. However, they need to accept the new learning circumstances with an open mind and heart. And the same thing is applied to the teachers. Another challenge is technical issues. Many students are not provided with the high bandwidth or strong internet connection that online courses require. And thus, they fail to catch up with their virtual classmates. So, technical issues is one of the challenges of online teaching. However, it can be fixed by having a strong internet connection or having a smartphone or any device that enables the students to go on their online teaching. Another point is computer literacy. We know that this generation is generally tech savvy. However, they have or they lack some of computer literacy. Okay, some of them may not able to operate programs such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, so they are not able to handle their files. One more point is time management. Time management is really difficult task for e-learners and even for the teachers themselves. Okay, so we know that mostly adults prefer web-based learning programs for their place and time flexibility. They rarely have the time to take the courses due to their various everyday commitments. So we need, as teachers, to manage our time because online teaching consumes a lot of time preparing for your lesson, preparing the material, and even setting up some activities online. One more point of the challenge that for the students and also teachers as well is self-motivation. Self-motivation is an essential requirement. However, most of online learners lack this. Really, that's surprising. After enrolling in distance learning courses, many learners fall behind and they give up the idea. They have difficulties in handling technological medium. Also, this one of the things that demotivate them. So students need to find motivation to follow the new educational trends. Right now, the motivation is that there is no way for the students unless they study online and graduate from university or from their schools. Invisibility, that is the sixth challenge face online teaching. Teaching online really makes you less visible than you would be in traditional teaching role. So this can impact your authority and make the students feel less connected with you. So here you need, as online teacher, to make your students connected. Multitasking, as I said before, in the time management, online teaching requires so sophisticated skills, and this is necessary, but really it is exhausting. You need to do many tasks to achieve your online lesson. Uh, the next point here is ideas how to make your online classroom interactive. And that is the most important point in this presentation, or that's the cream of this presentation. Break down the lesson to make it digestible. Break down the lesson to make it digestible. So before you go down to fun games, it is better to start working on time. Timing is crucial in online teaching, and you might find that you need to break up your online lessons differently than you would do in face-to-face classrooms. So mixing up the tempo of your lessons by adding variety of activity types is also a great way to make time fly by for your students. So you need to make variety of activities to make the time fly by your students, not follow only one tempo. You need to mix up the tempo. The second point is adapt in-class activities to the virtual classroom. Actually, in face-to-face class, it's typical to give the students some quiet reflection time to work alone or read text. But these kinds of activities don't work in online classrooms. The long and dense texts are challenging to read on the screen. Even the small texts are challenging for the screen. So, planning activities that keep your students actively clicking, typing, or talking throughout the lesson is the way that you go. So, you can do this by asking lots of questions, including games, and making sure the learners have to physically do things like using drawing tools or typing in the dialog boxes. So you can apply some of the in-classroom activities to the virtual classroom. Ask a lot of questions, make sure learners have to physically do things like use drawing tools or typing in dialog boxes. And when you are planning your lesson, make sure your students have to say something every 3 minutes and so. This is very essential point here. When the students say something every 3 minutes or every 5 minutes and so, they are engaged to your classroom. Make your students feel valued. Also, this technique can be applied in face-to-face classrooms. When the students feel valued, they're going to interact with you as a teacher. For the students that is studying in online classrooms, isolation can be a huge factor in making them feel demotivated. They may think that, oh, no one will notice me or care for me if I miss this classroom, or find it all tempting to go log into the classroom if they are feeling tired. If they are feeling tired, they may not join your classroom. So here is the best way and for you to make your students feel valued in the classroom. You must ask your question, how do I do that? Yes, I will give you some points to use. So learn the students' names and use their name throughout the lesson. So call them by name and make sure that they know your name as well. Okay? Find out about their interests and incorporate their interests in the lesson where it is possible. Give regular feedback on your students' work. Aim to be positive, encouraging lessons. If you give feedback, your feedback should be constructive one, not negative one. Another way of engaging your students, set goals and help your students stick to them. This actually is applicable in face-to-face teaching and in online teaching. So, set goals and remind your students of their progress. You have to set short goals, clear outline, and share them with your students. And then think how you might reward the students for finishing the task during the lesson. Think of ways to reward your students. When it comes to long-term goals, try taking time now and then to check in with your students and set goals together for the next month, 3 months, or 6 months down the line, whatever. So here you are giving your students an opportunity to participate in setting the goals, especially the long-term goals. You ask them to participate in setting these goals. Next is using technology to your advantage. You know that as a teacher, uh, make sure you know how to use virtual tools. Never challenge yourself and use any virtual tool that you don't know, especially when you are going to use a camera. You have to set the place, you have to dress up in a good way, okay, and be ready for the webcam. And you have to take the advantage of these virtual tools and use them to liven up your lessons. Make sure that you know how to use them, okay? And you need to present the best of yourself online. Looking neat, organized, and confident will inspire a certain amount of respect from your students. Encourage peer evaluation. In a classic classroom, uh, you can use also peer evaluation, and it can work online as well. So you are enabling the learners to review each other's work, and this really is going to reinforce their understanding of what they are doing, and it's going to encourage the culture of sharing, and this is going to be also available in spreading best practices. Peer evaluation is essential in online and even in regular classrooms. It gives the students a sense of control, it gives them a sense of self-confidence, it will encourage them, and automatically they are engaged and interactive to the online classroom. Bring fun into the class. I don't mean by fun here telling jokes or spending most of the time playing games, or no. The real key to getting your online students involved is to find out what motivates them. You look for what motivates them and give them the reason to be engaged in the classroom. For example, students may like talking about football, so you can include football in your lesson. Write about their favorite football player, write about the best match they have ever watched, or speak about the best match they have ever watched, or speak about their favorite football player. Uh, so the mediums that work in real life classrooms also work in an online environment. One more point is to be patient with your students. Anyone can tell you that keeping students engaged and stimulated is not easy task. Remember that young kids sometimes don't have very high attention spans, and it can be hard for them to sit still for a long time. Oh, that's by the way, that's normal and okay. So it is essential to give your students break now and then, and be patient with them. They can easily pick up whether you are annoyed or frustrated when something isn't clicking, and that makes matters worse. So give them a short break every now and then. It will make a difference, by the way. It's like ice breaking or something like that. Okay? And uh, these are just the start. There are many other ways to engage the students, and that depends on your online program or the course that you are going to teach online. You can create your own techniques based on your students, their social background, their educational background, their English level, and even their cultural background. What I mean here, what is good for male students may not be good for female students. It's not a gender bias, but we need to differentiate. So, as I said, it depends on your students mainly, and it depends on the online course that you are teaching. You can create your own techniques, you can create your own ways of engaging your students, and you can create your own objectives during your online teaching. Okay, anyway, I'm approaching the end of this presentation. Let me quickly review. In this presentation, we defined online teaching, and we talked about why online teaching nowadays, due to coronavirus, and we talked about the challenge that face online teaching, some of the challenge, not all the challenge, and I provided some ideas on how to make your online classroom interactive. That's it. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omer, for your comprehensive presentation. And thank you so much again. And if any of the audience have any questions, they can write their questions now in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you.